Hi, this is Anna. Welcome to God's a Feminist. Recently, I led my first mock small group about gender and sexuality, and it was really cool. It was really cool to see face to face how the work that I do impacts people on a deeper level, and how it's just very fulfilling, and it's very fulfilling to know that I play a role in protecting young women. I play a deep role in the growth of young women, and that's really, really, really cool. It was just kind of an informal intake, and I wanted to find out what people were interested in learning and what people kind of wanted from me. And one girl brought up, she said, I hear that porn is an issue. And I thought that was an interesting way of saying it, because I know that I personally don't use porn, but I do have some stories to tell. And I just thought it was really interesting to hear from that perspective from a girl who doesn't use porn. I'm being told that I need to know about this, that this is a problem, but I don't know what that is, or I don't know anything about it. So I think that this video is for people who do use porn and people who don't use porn, because it talks about porn from like a more human level. I think a lot of times when we talk about porn, it's not from a human level, and it's like, that's not helping anybody. So I have lots of notes that I wrote for this video. I'm gonna read. A lot of pastors like to talk at the problem of porn, or quote scripture at it. But honestly, it isn't loving your neighbor or yourself for that matter, and I'm tired of hearing rapists hate themselves at the pulpit. Seriously, just quit your job and get right with God and learn to love yourself sexually. And be safe sexually, because God doesn't want rapists in his church. Hashtag church too. Also in 1 Corinthians 5-13, which I'm always quoting, excommunicate rapists from your church. Somebody else's self-hatred and self-condemnation is never going to make you chaste. Someone hating themselves sexually at the pulpit is also hating you sexually at the pulpit, and is being disobedient to God by not loving your neighbor or yourself. God never called us to condemn ourselves for being sexual, but he did say excommunicate rapists. On the top of this video, I really want to talk about love and what love is, and because you don't find it all the time at church. I remember Jesus told this great story about the Good Samaritan, and it's about an unbeliever who was better than a priest and better than a rabbi, because he actually cared for somebody who was hurting, somebody he didn't know, who was actually willing to sacrifice his wage and his resources for somebody he didn't know, because he had a good heart. I want to say that I believe that there are people in the church who don't have good hearts, and I don't think that you should listen to those people. And I believe that loving yourself and loving your neighbor is top, because it's right below the loving God. So you love God and then you love your neighbor, and that's top. Those are the top two things that you need to do as a Christian, period. Everything else is below that. Anecdotally, I'll talk about porn. I haven't watched porn since I was like 13, because when I went through puberty, I had parents who didn't talk about sex and were unsafe to talk about sex with, and so I self-taught by watching porn. But it was kind of a strange and awkward experience, as most experiences are at that age. So I'll go into detail. People go through puberty ranging from ages 8 to 13, so that's when they start developing their sexuality. But sex education usually doesn't come until high school, and often not until later in high school, like sophomore year, or even later, honestly. And that's really dangerous, because kids are going through puberty at such a young age. I went through it later at 13, and that's later. So at 13, I just kind of was like trying to learn about sex, and I watched like the most awkward, like sad porn videos. Like, I remember one of the first porn videos I watched at age 13 was like amateur teenagers having sex on a boat, and it was literally just so sad to think about. It's like literally just like a close-up of like a flaccid penis like hammering a vagina, and it was like no one was aroused, no one was erect, and like, what, this is how teenagers have sex? Like, it totally turned me off. I was like, this is so boring. And then I kind of did like a little bit more searching and found like a more romantic video, if you can call it that. And it was kind of nicer, and the penis was erect, so like that was my sex education. That's how I learned the difference between a flaccid penis and erect penis, because like who was gonna tell me at age 13? So I did see that, but for me it was kind of disturbing because I don't think I was ready to watch people having sex. And also, I don't even know, like it just seemed to me that the woman was in so much pain, you know? Like that's just, and I, that's not normal. Women should not be in pain during sex. Basically, I was like, no more porn for me because this feels like rape. I didn't know it back then. I didn't know what rape was back then even, honestly, because no one told me. But yeah, like I watched this porn video and to me it looked like rape at age 13, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. There's this really great docu-series on Netflix called Hot Girls Wanted Turned On. It's kind of a continuation of a film documentary, but I didn't see the film documentary, I only saw the series. But the series is really great, and it talks about how sex and technology intersect with industry. And it's really, really interesting and really informative. And the first episode is all about, how women aren't, how the porn industry isn't made for women, and how, I think it was like 80% of women have a hard time finding porn that's good for them, or that like they like. And that's sad because, if 13-year-old me, maybe wouldn't be so disturbed by, what she was seeing. Go check that out on Netflix. It's a really great, really educational series. For the purposes of this video, I kind of want to sidestep my experiences and kind of see this from a more habitual user experience. This video is about porn specifically. It's not about masturbation because women don't need porn to masturbate, and so masturbation and porn they don't belong in the same category as a woman. Female sexuality is not exclusively visual, so when I talk about masturbation, it's just going to be in a separate video. So the problem with porn is that it's a hookup that can easily become a relationship, and a very serious one at that. It's nice to watch two people having sex. If it's a good quality porn, then yes. If it's a bad quality porn, then not so much. People watch porn for sexual gratification, just like they hook up for sexual gratification. Do they love the person? No. They just want to get busy and feel better. Obviously, there's a wide experiences of porn that people can have. Here, I'm focusing on pre-recorded online porn because in the docu-series, I learned that there's interactive porn where you pay cam girls to, basically be a stripper for you online, and that's just a different vocation. And I also don't want to demonize every person who uses porn. In the docu-series, there's an episode about this really, really nice guy who's just really too scared to be in a relationship. And so he has this kind of online relationship with a porn star. And it's just like, the real issue about it is that, for this specific person, was that he just didn't feel confident enough to approach women in real life. And I think, this is why when we talk about porn, we're talking about, self-love and like personal development and personal growth. We can't just talk about it as like, how most pastors will talk about, which is sexual sin. Like, that's not helpful to anybody. And yeah, there's like creeps and perverts and rapists watching porn, but like not everyone who watches porn is one. So I just want to say that. Online pre-recorded porn is the internet's casual side piece. The thing about porn is that it interrupts your relationships with real people, whether or not you talk about it, acknowledge it, or even recognize it, because porn is emotional. Porn is the hookup that everyone says was just a hookup, but then you end up in a relationship with them for years and you don't know how to get out. You think, well, maybe if I cheat and have sex with real people, it'll go away. But nope, because when you're lonely and no one is responding to your disrespectful you up texts, porn is always there. Porn is your dependable side piece, and whether you like it or not, you're in a serious relationship with someone who will never actually love you. Porn destroys marriages. because you never quit your side piece and you never want to. Your side piece has your back like a good bro. Your side piece understands your needs and never judges you. Your side piece stays with you no matter what, whether you had a good day or a bad day, whether or not someone was a jerk to you, or even if that person was your spouse. Also, porn lets you do whatever you want with it. It's porn, it's not a human. You can rape it in your fantasy. You can literally watch a man torture and rape a woman in porn. You can watch children being raped and also animals. Porn knows no boundaries. Even if you're not a pedophile or bestiality is not your thing, your perversions are always catered to by the porn industry, because normal sex without love gets boring, and you want excitement and you want adventure, and porn is a relationship who never says no. I'm gonna read Proverbs 7:6-23. For at the window of my house I looked out through my lattice, and among the naive, the inexperienced, and gullible, I saw among the youths the young man lacking good sense, passing through the street near her corner, and she took the path to her house. In the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night, and there a woman met him. Dressed as a prostitute and as a sly and cunning of heart, she was boisterous and rebellious. She would not stay at home. At times she was in the streets, at times in the marketplaces, lurking and settling her ambush at every corner. So she caught him and kissed him, and with a brazen and impudent face she said to him, I have peace offerings with me. Today I have paid my vows. So I came out to meet you, that you might share with me the feast of my offering. Diligently I sought your face, and I have found you. I have spread my couch with coverings and cushions of tapestry, with colored fine linen of Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes and cinnamon. Come, let us drink our fill of love until morning. Let us console and delight ourselves with love. For my husband is not at home. He has gone on a long journey, and he has taken a bag of money with him. And he will come home on the appointed day. With her many persuasions she caused him to yield. With her flattering lips she seduced him. Suddenly he went after her, as an ox goes to the slaughter, not knowing the outcome, or as one in stocks going to the correction, to be given to a fool, until an arrow pierced his liver with a mortal wound, like a bird fluttering straight into the net. He did not know it would cost him his life. I don't want this to be a condemning video, but I do want it to be a sober one which acknowledges the long-term consequences of porn addiction. But there is a solution. Like any addiction, it's difficult and requires spiritual fulfillment, and luckily we have a God who offers that. I think the best way to start is to bring all your emotions to God. You can write them down or pray in the Spirit. Just confess. Confess your feelings, your sexual feelings, your perversion, your attachment. None of this is news to God. He knows you and he adores you the same as before you confessed. And he adores it when you confessed, because you were finally brave enough to be honest with him. He loves you and he's got your back to the end, as long as you're willing to follow him. When the moment comes and it's you and your screen and your desire for sexual fulfillment, remember that desire comes from God, and so he is for it. It's just being miscontextualized. So confess the miscontextualization. Then listen to or watch something about porn addiction and freedom. It can even be this video. All the time saying to God, I don't want to be doing this right now. I'd rather watch porn. I love porn. Porn is great. I'd rather be watching porn. He knows. He understands. But if you'll turn on your phone, your computer, your devices, say to God, please give me something to fill this void that I'm pissed off I don't get to fill with porn right now. He knows. He's proud of you. Hear him say, I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You're doing great. You're doing so amazing. I'm so proud of you. You're doing so great. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and let my cry for help come to you. Do not hide your face from me in the day of my distress. Incline your ear to me. In the day when I call, answer me quickly, for my days have vanished in smoke, and my bones have been scorched like a hearth. My heart has been struck like grass and withered. Indeed, absorbed by my heartache, I forget to eat my food. Because of the sound of my groaning and suffering and trouble, my bones cling to my flesh. I am like a mournful vulture in the wilderness. I am like a desolate owl of the wasteland. I am sleepless and lie awake mourning. I have become like a lonely bird on a housetop. My enemies taunt me all day long. Those who ridicule me use my name as a curse, for I have eaten ashes like bread, and I have mingled my drink with tears because of your indignation and your wrath. For you have lifted me up and thrown me away. My days are like an evening shadow that lengthens and vanishes with the sun. And as for me, I wither away like grass, but you, O Lord, are enthroned forever, ruling eternally as sovereign. And the fame and glory of your name endures to all generations. You will arise and have compassion on Zion, for it is time to be gracious and show favor to her. Yes, the appointed time, the moment designated has come, for your servants find melancholy pleasures in the stones of her ruins, and feel pity for her dust. So the nations will fear the name of the Lord, and all the kings of earth will recognize your glory, for the Lord has built up Zion. He has appeared in glory and brilliance. He has regarded the prayer of the destitute, and he has not despised their prayer. Let this be recorded for the generation to come, that a people yet to be created with praise will praise the Lord. For he looked down from his holy height of his sanctuary from heaven. The Lord gazed on the earth to hear the sighing of the prisoner, to set free those who were doomed to death, so that many people may declare the name of the Lord in Zion, and his praise in Jerusalem. When the peoples are gathered together and the kingdoms will to serve the Lord, he has exhausted my strength, humbling me with sorrow. In the way he has shortened my days. I said, "Oh my God, do not take me away in the midst of my days." Your years are eternal throughout all generations. At the beginning you founded the earth. The heavens are the work of your hands. Even they will perish, but you endure. Yes, all of them will wear out like a garment, like clothing. You will change them, and they shall be changed. But you remain the same, and your years will never end. The children of your servants will continue, and their descendants will be established before you. Psalm 102, 1-28. And repeat the process every time. God is your refuge and your strength. Bye. See you next time.